Robert Moffat, 1795 to 1883, missionary to Africa. Robert Moffat was born in Scotland and a Congregationalist missionary to Africa. He was father-in-law of David Livingstone. He was the first translator of the Bible into Setswana. He was born of a humble parent but later moved to England to seek a job. It was there that he began to know God more spiritually and thereafter became a member of the Methodist Church. He saw a sign of a missionary meeting in England, which he later attended. After the meeting, God prompted his heart to become a missionary. He had to apply to the London Missionary Society, LMS, to become an overseas missionary, and was successful. He left to South Africa. At his time, missionaries trek into the interiors. There were few railroads or roads and often teams those were washed away by rains. Travel was difficult, dangerous and often ends in death. Rivers, rocks, swamps, and forests had to be avoided or mastered somehow. Intense heat by day and cold by night complicated travels. There were wild beasts such as lions, hyenas, crocodiles, snakes, monkeys and, worst of all, warlike and untrustworthy native bushmen. Such journeys were not often undertaken by those who knew not the country well, and to a newcomer like Moffat, such treks were deadly dangerous. But Moffat, motivated by his missionary call, meant to master all such obstacles. He gradually became physically acclimated to Africa's extreme climates. He learned the country and became proficient in its customs and languages, and he developed the great power of leadership that was to be his badge and make him a blessing to multitudes. Often, he bound his stomach to help him endure fasting when he could not find food to eat. He set out for a village where the chief, Afrikaner, a bloodthirsty butcher, was converted. That conversion was considered one of the great accounts of the grace of God on the mission fields. On that trip, he saw for the first time the Karuman River and the Bewanas, the peoples with whom he would spend most of his long missionary ministry with. The Bewanas' reception of Moffat's ministry was negative. He labored as a builder, a carpenter, a smith and a farmer all in one, in a bid to reach out to them. Moffat's opportunity to win the love of the people came when he tried to defend them from their warring neighbors, the Zulus. He did not fight in the war, but procured firearms and equipped them. As they conquered the Zulus, they realized Moffat's bravery and compassion on their behalf, and began to respect him as a friend. It was however not until after 12 more years before his efforts began to yield fruit. At one time his meeting house with the people became crowded. They began to love prayers and the songs of Zion were sung. They also began to give up their dirty habits as converts began to be recorded who also submitted for baptism. Other tribes, hearing the news, sent representatives to learn of the white man's teaching. This began the beginning of the spread of the gospel in the land. It was then that Moffat realized he must concentrate on translating the New Testament into the language of the people, if they were to learn God's word and live God's way. As a result, he not only translated the Bible, but procured a press and printed it. This is how he braved dangers and opened the deadlines of African jungle villages to the gospel. Like Elijah and the prophets of Baal at Mount Carmel, he withstood native doctors in the land and magnified Christ as a missionary. He died at 88. What are those things Robert Moffat is remembered for today? 1. He championed the African missionary work. 2. He related with deadly native people of Africa who knew nothing about life. 3. He encouraged the establishment of other mission stations in Africa.